Hello, and welcome back to the Keeping It Real Estate with Chris and Jennifer Bober podcast. Of course, we are realtors here at Nebraska Realty, based out of Omaha, Nebraska, and we are here to talk about the market and share things with you so you are more educated and can make great decisions. As a reminder, we're into 2023 now, and we have experienced a big shift in our market. So we're going to talk about that here today. Last month we talked about our updated listing system. Today we're going to talk about our updated buyer program. A quick reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube, down at the bottom there's a little subscribe button. Go ahead and click that button. And then, of course, the notification bell if you want to get notified of every time we do new videos, which, we do podcasts, we do a lot of stuff. If you're on any social media, just follow our page, like us, retweet, comment. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions that we might have out there. We just want to grow our presence out there so we can help people understand this real estate process that we're going through. So, of course, here at Team Bober, this year we kind of rebranded who we are and what we're doing, and it's more of an update and trying to make ourselves better. So we kind of came up with a mission statement, and that is to build relationships by providing a positive real estate experience to exceed our clients' expectations. And that sounds really cool, but it's like, okay, well, what do you do? Well, so our purpose is, number one, we want to educate and empower our clients to make great real estate decisions. Number two, we want to serve with authentic hospitality. And number three, we want to provide client-first representation. Right. So those are really how we fulfill our mission and how we apply it to our business. And you'll see that sprinkled in when we talk about our stuff today. But like I said, we're 2023, we have a different market. And to update kind of what's going on, we got some stats back for January of this year. And here's what those things showed, right? Number one is sales in January of 23 were down almost 30% from last year. Now it's still January, it's not a huge deal, but that's still a big number to go down.
Interesting.
The absorption rates, which is kind of the speed of the market, it comes out and it tells you how many months of inventory you have. Well, across the board, they pretty much doubled. So properties are taking about twice as long to sell this year as they were last year at this time. The sales price, last year coming into 22, we had about a 12% increase from the previous year. This year, our increase in sales price is only 8.5%. So we are seeing a leveling off of the appreciation of value. The price points, a lot of properties, because of the equitable gain, they're bumping up in price points. There's hardly any sales that are under $100,000 in our market, but we've gone from 18 to 25% of our market being 500,000 plus sales. Wow. So we're just seeing those prices over time, they've risen, and they're just bumping those price points up. So, what's this mean for buyers, right? So since last year, the interest rates were around 3%, and now we're looking at about 6 to 6.5%. We do dip down in the fives a little bit, but you're about double in interest rates. So if you bought a house for X amount last year and you bought a house for X amount this year, you're paying thousands of dollars a year more just in interest rates. You're not getting a bigger house or a better house. You're paying the bank more money. That's kind of interesting because a lot of people that are coming into this market, what we're finding with our buyers is they're people who are first-time home buyers.
Yes.
Right? They don't know what it's like to be in the 3% range. So 6% doesn't bother them too much.
Perspective is everything.
It totally is.
And matters.
And what we like to say is, you marry the home, but you date the rate.
Yes, that's your favorite.
And I like saying that because the experts are predicting that within a year or two, interest rates are going to go back down, right? We have an election year coming up next year, and inflation's going down. So we're expecting interest rates to keep on getting better. So if people buy now, they can refinance later and lower that payment.
Yep, that's a big part of the conversation now with buyers, is that refinance piece.
Totally. And I guess what overall we're seeing is that buyers are having more opportunities. Now, certain price points are going pretty fast, but we don't expect that to last too long because as more inventory comes into the market this spring, we feel like it's going to level out and be kind of an even market. Okay, so to get to our theme for today, right, after a long lead-in, we're going to talk about our buyer program. Last month, we talked about our listing program and some of the updates we've made to how we serve our clients just to kind of keep updated and keep up with what's going on in the market. Again, today we're going to talk about our buyer program, and we call it our VIP buyer program. And really, we kind of came up with this because we really work with the clients that get referred to us and that we know. So almost 100% of our business is by referrals. And we wanted to give them a program that gives them the best results, right? Now, we do have some qualifications for this market, right?
Yeah.
To be in this program, we have 3 qualifications. Number 1 is you have to get pre-approved by a lender, right? Number 2 is you have to attend a buyer consultation session with us. And number 3 is you have to commit to hiring us to take you all the way through the process. So let's kind of break those down just a little bit, and we'll go into those individually.
Yeah.
All right. The first one is pre-approval. Just off the top of your head, Jen, tell me why you think getting pre-approved before even looking at houses is so important.
Oh, well, the bank is what, if you don't have the money, you don't buy the house. And so you really want to build a relationship with a lender early on, understand what your financial landscape looks like. And where you fall in that, and just making sure that's the first most important connection. If we're out looking at homes and you haven't spoke with we wouldn't do that. But if that's just jumping a couple steps ahead.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to backtrack, and it leads to frustration and all that. But just out of the gates, you have to have that financial conversation because it's your biggest investment for most people.
Yeah, you're buying the biggest thing of your whole life. But from a bank perspective, it's a little bit different. And there's a difference between what you can qualify for and then what you can afford.
Yeah.
Like you can say, okay, I can afford X amount per month.
Yep.
But the bank looks at the big picture, right?
Right.
And the way they look at it, we're not going to get too much into it, but they look at basically how much you make, and you can only a certain percentage of that can be applied towards your monthly payment in all your debt. They look at your debt and they look at your credit.
Right.
But sometimes what you can qualify for and what you think you can afford are different things.
Yes. Yeah, I think there are a lot of online tools and different things you can use to like quickly calculate, like if I bought this X number, price house and plug things in, but it's all just a guess. And the actual story comes from sitting down with someone and doing a little bit deeper dive. And so I really encourage people not to just do something quick and kind of fly by night and then say they're ready to buy a house. I would rather connect them, sit down with someone. But yes, back to your point, affordability, versus what you qualify for. Just because you qualify for $300,000 as your financial landscape looks like you do and your lender says you do, that doesn't always mean that's the price of a home you want to buy. Maybe the mortgage is what you live in every day, is what we say. So, okay, maybe you should be buying a $275,000 house because the mortgage on a monthly basis is more comfortable for you.
Yeah, and another thing is we like our buyers to focus it on a price range within their affordability and qualification, right?
Yeah.
So if you're only qualified up to $225,000, there really is no reason for you to look at $250,000. Because we don't want you to fall in love with a house and not be able to buy it because it's at the top of your range or it's outside of your range.
And every situation is so unique in its own case. You talk about let's go off of that exact example. Now, this is just one example. Every situation is different. But if you are in the $225,000 price range, those houses are going fast. I honestly would recommend, and I work with a lot of our buyers, if your top of your range is $225,000, I would actually probably look at no higher than $220,000, just because it's starting to get really competitive in that range, and you may need to negotiate or, get creative with the money that you have and things like that. So, yeah.
Well, lastly, you're also going to need that proof that you've qualified for financing or proof of funds to submit with an offer.
It'll be expected. The other agents and things like that aren't going to accept even looking at your offer if they don't know you've done that step.
Yep, and this is why we refer our people to the great lenders that we do work with, because we can trust them. They can help us through the process. And again, this isn't our level of expertise. We give you to our lender, and then they come back with how the financing is going to work, and they educate us.
Yeah.
And that way we work together.
Exactly.
So that's we just really like to talk about getting pre-approved just because it's such a big deal. Now, the second thing is, and this is a requirement, is that we have a counseling session that we'd like to have with our buyers before just to get them started on the right foot. And you see right here, it's a couple of pages of notes that we take during this, and some of the things that we go into in our counseling session is, number one, we're going to sit down and we're going to want to hear your story.
Yeah.
Right?
It's important for us to understand, and then sitting down across from each other and having a conversation really helps us understand, what are the priorities and if any, are there emotions attached to this process? And there's all of the details of what size of a home and 2-car garage, 1 car, all that data stuff. But understanding the story of why you're moving or why you're needing to buy and is more important, I think. Sometimes.
Yes, we need to see the whole picture from your perspective. If there's other people involved, which happens a lot of times.
Yep.
We also like to know what your biggest concerns or your biggest fears are.
Yeah.
Some people are really afraid of, that their house is going to fall down. They're going to buy something and something's going to go wrong. Some people are super afraid of the process. Some people just said, I'm ready, let's go.
Yeah.
But we need to sit down to understand what that is. We talk about the process, right? So we also have some information that we share with our people. We call it the purchasing pathway. So if you're watching this on video, you can see this. But there is a definite process from the beginning to start looking for a home all the way to closing. And some of these steps talk about the appointment, determining the purchase parameters, acquiring a pre-approval, the process of going out to look at homes.
Yeah.
Right? There's a right way and a wrong way
I think
to go about going to look at homes.
Absolutely. To be efficient and not exhaust the buyer. I think sometimes people think, oh, it's time to buy a house, so let's go start looking tonight. Well, there's all these pre-steps that need to be done so that when you get to this actual viewing home stage, you feel more empowered as a buyer because you've taken the proper steps and you understand the situation. And just getting to that point, I think you're in a better position if you do those initial steps.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that finding a home is a process of searching when actually it's really a process of elimination, right? We try to remove everything outside of your price point, but then the amenities you want, the style, the location, we help you understand how to search for those so you really get super focused in on things that fit your needs rather than every shiny ball that's out there. And that's, again, one of the reasons you hire a realtor like us at Team Bober is to get you from point A all the way to the end with the least amount of hassle. Right? We want you to enjoy the process. It should be fun, right? You're buying a house. So we want to make it fun by helping guide you along. We also talk about a big thing is helping understand the contract. Right? Our purchase contract is 11 pages long of small print. And there are
feels like it's growing.
It is.
It's grown.
There's so many terms in there, not just the price, the earnest deposit, the financing. You have inspections, you have termite inspections, you have warranties, you have insurance issues, you have closing dates. There's all these things, and it's a complicated process that we live in it. It's our profession to do this, so helping take you through that process is a big part. Writing contracts, writing offers. Another thing people kind of don't understand is when you make an offer, you're expected to give them an earnest deposit. Right? You actually have to have real money to put down as good faith so that it binds you to that contract. And some people don't know that they actually have to have that money up front. We get the property under contract, help with them. Then we get to the things that are kind of hard, the transaction management details. And Jen is our transaction manager. She is so good at this. But the first thing we have to go through is a home inspection. And that's not easy sometimes, right?
That's its own whole process that I think it feels like people get anxious about that. Some people, whether they're literally saying, this makes me anxious, or they're, just the emotions change. And so it's not that big of a deal. There is more than one answer. There are solutions to these things. I think I feel great because of our combined years experience. We have seen this go so many ways. So, and now there's always something out there that we haven't seen, but not to say we've seen it all. But I think sharing and guiding those people through, and we just have a confidence. I feel like that we know we're going to get to the other side of this, and just making sure they feel that way too. And they're not scared and feeling like they're buying a lemon or anything like that. Yeah, and we are there to help throughout the whole entire process, and of course all the way to closing. We help them understand. We go through a walkthrough. Sometimes there's things that are needed for appraisal issues or financing terms that come up, and there's always something different that comes up. We help them understand just this process. And then of course at the end we give you the keys. You buy your house, and you get moved in and live happily ever after. Right. But part of this session is to help you understand that pathway, because not everyone understands. They think you just show up, get the house, I'll move in a couple weeks. Right. But there's a lot to be done. So part of that counseling session is understanding the process and the pathway to get there. And then we talk about the right and wrong ways to go out and look at houses. We talk about how we work. Jen and I, of course, work together, so we have double the coverage of what they do need. And this session that we talk to, then we of course we start scheduling to go look at houses.
services and things like that. But this session it takes about an hour, and it's so valuable just to get started on the right foot and get you going in the right direction and do it the right way, rather than just, hey, I saw this house on wherever, let's go look at it in an hour. We want to be a little bit more deliberate and purposeful with what we do, because we know that's going to get the best results.
Well, and I think so much comes from those conversations that maybe the client didn't even realize they needed to talk through. Just giving people that opportunity to have the dialogue, And
the last part of this is that we do require you to hire us. Now, we really don't require often to have any sort of exclusivity or something like that. But we want an understanding with our clients is that in order to be involved in this program, or this VIP program, where we give you 100% of what we have, we just ask our clients to commit back to us 100%, to go on this journey with us to the process, because as realtors, as agents, we're business people, right? And a lot of people don't realize is that we don't get anything in terms of payment until the house is sold, right? So we're giving you all this time. Of course, we want to have our income here at the end. That's not the main thing we do, obviously, but we are doing this for a living. And it also helps us understand some situations that can come up that are a little outside the normal. Right. And two of those situations that come up, and we actually help people through this very well, is if you see a for sale by owner. We have helped people be the contact person to call that for sale by owner, and we help facilitate that. We represent our buyers as clients, and usually the seller's a customer. And the seller says, okay, I'll pay your commission if you'll help me sell this house to your clients. But of course, we need to be the people making those calls and doing that to be a part of the process and to represent them. The other part is when it comes to new construction. Right? A lot of times there are builders out there where if you go and look at something in an open house or a model and you put your name on a list, you're forfeiting your right to be represented by a buyer's agent like us. And of course, there's so many benefits of having realtors help you through that process. So we help people understand how to navigate that process too. So that's why we kind of had this thing to, okay, we're going to go through this together. We're going to get to the finish line together, and that's our goal. So to recap what we do, the benefits to our clients kind of really go back to our purpose, right? So number one is we want to help them understand the process, right? And that goes to our number one of our purposes, which is to educate and empower our clients, right? So we're very transparent. Not that we have every answer, but we want our clients to feel like they know what's going on at all times. So they can communicate with us. We can explain it to them. They're ready for this, right? The second one is to understand our clients' needs. Again, that's our authentic hospitality. And that comes down to us listening to them and taking them in the direction that fits their needs primarily, and helping them get there. And then the third one is to get the best results. Right? We have found that by going through this process where you're very deliberate about how you purchase a home, that we can get people the best results at the end, that they're happy with what they go through. It isn't always easy, right?
I was going to say, there's always, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't always know the road ahead of us, but boy, we are always trying to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of it as agents, as part of our job, to try to navigate that before that client gets to that point. But yeah, it's always fun. It's always exciting.
And we find that this process, what it's done is it's helped us kind of adjust to this new market, right? As buyers are going out there now, we are having more inspections be part of the process, which of course is a process for us and for our clients to go through. Financing is changing all the time. So we're continually keeping in touch with the lenders and doing all that stuff. And then, of course, the speed of how things goes, it goes up and it goes down. But we're really there to kind of serve their needs of what they need. You know what I mean? So going into this year, we're really just focusing on the process and making sure that the changes that come, we make sure the process handles those.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the biggest deal when it comes to us, is how can we serve our clients? And the reason we're kind of putting this out there is because it has changed. We can't go about business like we have done last year or the year before, because things are continually moving forward, and we want to be there for that. So if you do know anyone or yourselves are looking to purchase a home or just want to be educated about the process.
There's so much more we can go into with every one of these pieces, examples we could give. We're just kind of scratching the surface here, but it's just fun even just to have the conversation if someone's interested.
Yeah, and it's important to us, for you guys to know out there, whether you're watching or listening to this, is that we are trying to stay ahead of the game and be prepared for when our clients get referred to us. We are prepared to serve them the best way we can. So, so that kind of wraps it up for our talk about how we're updating our VIP buyer program. Again, as a reminder, if you are watching this on YouTube, the little subscribe button down there, go ahead and smash that, as the kids say. And then you can get the notifications as well. And then on any social media, wherever you're finding this, there's going to be links to our website, to our social media message that is, again, very educational. You can follow our page, you can retweet our stuff, you can like, you can comment, all the kind of things they do there.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you joining us today to learn more about the buyer process, how we are serving our clients by staying updated with that. And we look forward to serving you and your referrals, because we are never too busy for them.
No.
And we really appreciate all of you out there who have referred us business. So Chris and Jen Bober from the Keeping It Real Estate with Chris and Jen Bober podcast. We thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time.